Cambodia to address observations and comments that have been raised so far. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. I'd like to give the floor to Dr. Sokratica, Advisor, Ministry of Land Management, Urban Planning and Construction.
Merci, Madame la Vice-Présidente.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I'll answer the question put by the distinguished representatives of Ireland, Lesotho, Luxembourg. To tell you what Cambodia is doing in this sphere. At the beginning of 2024, the Ministry for Land Planning and Urbanism issued 7,495,951 land titles and 7 million plots, some 100%, were dealt with during the first phase, and 495,951 plots are in the second phase. That is 9.92% of the 5 million plots. And they're setting up 65 permanent land surveying stations throughout the whole of the country. At the same time, the ministry resolved a total of 15,061 cases of all types of land disputes and is currently solving another 1,771 cases. That is 99.80% of total cases which have been resolved, have been addressed. Also, efforts are being made to provide land titles to the population, and the government has set up policies such as the policy of granting social land concessions to those who lacked land for housing, which represents a total land area of 1,356,752 hectares, a total of 487,457 families are covered, building a total of 8,141 houses. And then secondly, the policy of land registration and land use rights for indigenous communities who have been issued collective land titles for 42 communities. That is 1,105 titles covering 41,538 hectares for 4,159 families. The form has been revised and the procedures for applying for collective land registration have been simplified to make it easier and faster for indigenous peoples to meet the requirements for applications. And we're also ensuring greater gender equality in the land sector to make sure that equitable benefits for men and women are ensured in the land sector. So the rural government has set out the following principles and actions to be taken. 1, women are ensured that they will receive equal benefits from all programs and activities in the land sector. 2, women and men have equal access to information on policies and laws related to the land sector. 3, the registration of land or the issuance of a certificate or identification of the real estate owner must be defined as a joint property of the spouses or separate property of the husband or wife, and this must be carried out with the participation of women based on legal and social aspects. 4, women who are heads of households with land titles may put them up as collateral. 5, women and men should enjoy equal opportunities to participate in providing comments on the implementation, development, and receipt of equitable, inclusive, and transparent benefits in the land sector. 6, women's representation in all committees in the land sector is encouraged, and women's leadership roles must be promoted step by step at all levels. 7, to strengthen the capacity of authorities at all levels, especially for women, ensuring greater general awareness of land rights. 8, all stakeholders, in particular citizens of both sexes must be involved in land management planning, land use master plans, land use plans, and development plans. 9. Land allocation through implementing social land concessions or land allocations for the purpose of reducing poverty in the forms of donations and resettlements must be done equitably, promoting equality between women and men. And 10. Strategic plans for gender mainstreaming in the land sector for the short, medium, and long-term periods must include capacity building and development strategies. The implementation of these plans must be monitored, reviewed, and evaluated by the relevant ministries and institutions. And I'll give the floor back to my head of delegation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to give the floor to Her Excellency Nyin Suchitra, Director General from the Ministry of Women's Affairs.
Thank you very much, Excellency, head delegates, and good morning, Madam Vice President, ladies and gentlemen. I have a great honor to participate in this important session, and I am very pleased to provide to you the key up-to-date on the gender equality and the prevention of violence against women, including child marriage in Cambodia, and also respond to the comment raised by Nepal, Mexico, Pakistan, Lesotho, and Lake Systems that you have raised comment regarding to violence against women in Cambodia. We are recognize that women and girls globally as well as in Cambodia face significant gender inequality and discrimination. Cambodia continue to promote gender equality and face discrimination in all aspects of life through policy development and implementation. The Royal Government of Cambodia in the 7th mandate continue to prioritize the promotion of gender equality and empowerment of women in all sectors through its policy agenda and the Pentagon Strategy Phase 1 for Growth, Employment, Equity, Effectiveness and Sustainability, recognizing that women are at core in the effort. In this way, the government promotes gender equality by increasing investment in women in the economy, education, health, public leadership, and governance. The Nari Ratana 6 is a key strategy and 5 years priority package of the Ministry of Women Affairs with 41 interventions for boosting and promoting gender equality in the political agenda and program at all levels and all sectors. The draft national policy on gender equality is the first ever policy document in Cambodia that provides for a gender transformative approach in all sectors to promote accountability, to develop approach to promote accountability, develop approach to for institutionalize of gender in line ministry institution and gender responsive budget program promote a monitoring and evaluation system and transformation of social mindset, attitude and behavior. The national and subnational mechanism have been working actively to promote gender equality, gender responsive women's rights and prevention of violence against women at all levels. And the proportion of women in decision-making position in the public sector has steadily increased at all levels. Women from diverse backgrounds such as LGBTQI, women with disability, women in ethnic and indigenous community, older and younger women have been prioritized in policy response to promote inclusion such as the National Action Plan to Prevent Violence Against Women. Women entrepreneurship is strong, and the World Bank report in 2020 suggests that Cambodia ranked the highest among countries in the world where women are free to start a business. The Ministry of Women Affairs led the implementation of the project to promote women economic empowerment in the digital age. Girls have reached gender parity in education, especially in primary and lower secondary education. The National Action Plan to Prevent Violence Against Women 2019 to 2023 has just completed, and the development of the next plan is underway. It prioritizes prevention of violence, promotion of laws and policy, and quality essential service. The recent review found that its implementation led to improved coordination, improved service response. Intimate partner violence has decreased. According to the recent demography and health survey found that the percentage of women aged between 50 to 49 have experienced emotional, physical, or sexual violence by the current partner. Most of current intimate partner in their lifetime have decreased from 29% in 2014 to 21% in 2020. The law on the prevention of domestic violence and the protection of victims is planned to review and a reform to ensure that the alignment with the international standard and best practice. A roadmap for the reform has been completed that will guide the way forward. An analysis of a harmful social norm that a perpetrator of gender-based violence was conducted that will inform the development of the prevention strategy of the National Action Plan to prevent gender-based violence. Two national helplines have been established with standard operating procedure to provide information and referral to gender-based violence survivors. A safe app have been developed that will provide access to inform on GBV, available service and support, and link to urgent help. Multi-sectoral coordination mechanisms have been established and operational in selected 9 provinces and 39 districts with frontline service providers trained on a quality response to GBV. And the standard operating procedure have been developed to guide the development of one-stop service unit at the hospital. Currently, the one-stop service unit established and operating in 6 provinces. The positive parenting strategy was developed with a key element training on parenting without violence of any kind, aiming to prevent violence now and in the future. The impact evaluation showed that physical violence against children was reduced. Standard operating procedure for child protection have been developed and implemented to guide child protection practice at the subnational level. The prevention of child marriage and teenage pregnancy remain a priority. The Ministry of Women Affairs, with the support from UNICEF and collaboration with NGOs in the prevention program to address child marriage in the province where the high rates. And we conduct a national study in 9 provinces, and based on the study, we will develop the National Action Plan to prevent violence, to prevent child marriage and adolescent as a nationwide. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I'd like to now give the floor to His Excellency Somjamnan, Secretary of State, Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training.
Thank you so much, Excellency Head of Delegations, Excellency Vice President, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to address this very important UPO in my capacity as the Secretary of State of the Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training of Cambodia. While taking recommendation of all countries into consideration with high appreciation, I would like to share with you the fact about some of the key achievements in promoting decent work and protection of freedom of association in Cambodia. First, Cambodia is one of very few countries that implement the policy which link international trade with working conditions. For these reasons, we are the first country that has implemented the ILO Better Factory program, which has now been replicated in many countries. Moreover, we are among very few countries in the world that have implemented the ILO Decent Work Country Program, the WCP, and our sixth DWCP 2024-2028 is due to sign tomorrow. With regard to freedom of associations, Cambodia is one of the only 4 countries in ASEAN that ratify ILO Convention 87 and 98. In line with our constitution, the labor law and the trade union law provide the rights to worker and employer to form their respective professional organizations at their choice and to exercise their freedom without any intimidation, as long as it is done without any violation to the right of others and the law. It is to emphasize that the trade union law of Cambodia provides even better conditions for workers to form trade union than what provided for by the ILO recommendation, as well as the law of some countries in the regions, because workers can form as many trade unions as they want in one enterprise. As a practice, we currently have on average 4 to 5 trade unions in one enterprise. This is very, very unique. Our trade union law was amended in 2020 to simplify the registration process after a series of comprehensive tripartite consultations and the technical support from the ILO. No registration application has ever been rejected as long as the administrative requirements are fulfilled. Evidentially, before the adoption of the law on trade union in 2016, we had only 3,626 professional organizations registered with the ministry. But as of March 2024, we have 6,317 professional organizations, accounting for 74.21% increase. And within the last 8 months, 123 professional organizations comprising of 121 local trade unions and 2 confederation trade unions have been registered. The sharp increase in the number of professional organizations following the adoption of an amendment of the law on trade union is an indisputable testament that the registration is not an issue. So the complaint of 1 or 2 trade unions that resist to comply with the law is not justified, although such complaint has always been addressed. In terms of trade union protection, no trade union member in Cambodia has ever been arrested or prosecuted for their legal actions. Like other countries, Cambodia strongly upholds the rule of law, so legal action is not taken based on who the perpetrators are, but what they did. And this legal action is consistent with the decision of the Committee on Freedom of Association of the ILO, which I would like to quote that. Penal sanction should only be imposed if, in the framework of a strike, violence against person and property, or other serious violation of the ordinary criminal law are committed, and this on the basis of law and regulation punishing such acts, end quote. In respect of child labor, Cambodia has a big pool of young and active labor force. So there is no labor shortage that requires child labor in Cambodia. But if any enterprise wishes to employ children from 15 to below 18 years old, they shall seek prior permission from the labor inspector. Otherwise, it is deemed considered as a serious violation which will result in strong penalty under the labor law. With regard to minimum age for work, Cambodia fully respects ILO Convention 138. In addition, certain regulations on child labor have been established and strictly enforced. Currently, a new regulation to increase the minimum age for work in the manufacturing sector to 16 years old and to 18 years old for exporting sector is being drafted. On the other hand, promoting decent job and good working conditions is always one of the top priorities in the development strategy of the government. Moreover, our Prime Minister, the previous and the current one, consider the well-being of our workers. For this reason, the former and the present Prime Minister set the schedule to have regular public meetings with workers directly in order to listen to their concern and respond to their needs. This is very unique, once again. Noticeably, from August 2017 to 2019, the former Prime Minister had a public meeting with workers for 77 times, participated by approximately 1 million workers. Through those meetings, 10 recommendations had been made by the Prime Minister and strictly implemented by the Ministry of Labour. And from September till December 2023, the new Prime Minister has continued this momentum to meet with workers for 10 times, attended by over 170,000 workers. Through those meetings, the Prime Minister has made 6 recommendations to the Ministry of Labour to implement in 2023 and 4 other recommendations for implementation in 2024 and 2025. The 6 recommendations that have been made for 2023 have been successfully implemented by the Ministry of Labour. Currently, all workers in Cambodia receive salary twice a month. And relating to the minimum wage, according to the law on minimum wage, it is fixed regularly once a year. This is very unique for Cambodia. Through the National Minimum Wage Council, which is a tripartite body. The criteria for minimum wage setting strictly follow the ILO Convention 26. It is to know that minimum wage has been increased 19 times from $40 per month in 1997 to $204 per month in 2024. And it was still increased during the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to other mandatory benefits, workers in the garment, textile, footwear, travel goods, and bag sector receive at least $221 to $232 per month, excluding overtime and other social security benefits. This minimum wage is much higher than some of other countries that are considered as our competitor. For female workers, they are entitled to 120% of wage during the maternity leave and can take leave for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, 10 times with normal pay plus the allowance from the government of $20 per time for pregnancy check. They are also allowed to leave work 15 minutes earlier than other workers. And after delivering the baby, they are entitled to take leave 4 times for health check and 7 times for vaccinating the baby. Each time, they still get normal pay and allowance from the government of $20. Workers are also entitled to free baby delivery service plus the allowance from the government of $200 for each baby. Regarding the social security protection, Cambodia is currently implementing 3 social security schemes for workers, including workers in the air and maritime transportation, domestic workers, and the self-employed person, under the National Social Security Fund. The occupational risk, health care, and pension scheme were launched in 2008, 2016, and 2022, respectively. The feasibility study is being conducted for the implementation of the unemployment scheme. Unlike in other countries, the social security contribution for healthcare and occupational risk scheme are fully paid by employer. Only the contribution for pension scheme is equally shared by the employer and workers. On the other hand, in November 2023, the government officially launched the Social Security Scheme for Voluntary Healthcare, which is aimed to cover additional 3 million self-employed and dependent of NSSF members, so that the healthcare coverage is extended to over 9 million people to reach our universal health coverage goal. On the other hand, providing a quality job to our people is the priority of the government. To enable them to get this kind of job, the government launched the TVET training program for 1.5 million people from the poor and vulnerable family in November 2023. And to create the culture of legal compliance, strengthen the effectiveness of alternative dispute resolution mechanism, strengthen the implementation of social security, and increase productivity, the competition program on One Enterprise, One Harmony Community was launched in 2024. Excellency Vice President, due to time limit, I would like to conclude my intervention here with the strong wish and hope that the working group will take the given information and fact into serious consideration and make a just and unbiased observation about the current status of freedom of association as well as labor rights and working conditions in Cambodia. Our concerted effort and achievement should not be undermined. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all the best. Thank you. Over back to you, Excellency.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I'd like to give the floor to Excellency Long Sonita, Vice President of the Cambodian Human Rights Committee.
Thank you, the head of the delegation. We are humbled by the recommendations received from member states such as the Philippines, Japan, Italy, Lebanon, and Paraguay. on ensuring the fundamental human rights to safety and security concerning human rights trafficking. Let me assure you that the fight against human trafficking and forced labor and sexual exploitation remains a top priority for the royal government in this mandate. Constant emphasis have been made in the executions of the legal framework, operational mechanisms, and international corporations are rolled out to ensure that a unified force are concentrated to combat the fight against human trafficking. In fact, the National Committee for Counter-Trafficking has strengthened cooperation with relevant national and international stakeholders, signing about 18 memorandum of understanding and agreements with various partners from 2019 until 2023, and also to amplify the cooperation with many countries, especially between law enforcement agencies that are directly responsible for investigating crimes, including human trafficking. Through the law enforcement from 2019 to 2023, the competent authorities have cracked down on 936 cases related to human trafficking in persons and sexual exploitation. Also arrested 1,258 suspects and sent them to court and rescued 3,139 victims. Its 5-year strategic plan on combating human trafficking for the year 2024 and 2028 is already developed. To mainstream the effort at subnational level, the village, commune, and Sangak safety policy has also been promoted to a national policy with a clear defined areas of needs and to implement the 7 priorities with the anti-human trafficking at both authorities, national and subnational level as one of the core. In fact, in 2022, the Ministry of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation has received and sent approximately 2,218 victims for rehabilitation service at partner organization center. Also received a total of 288 victims and vulnerable victims repatriating from various countries by air. Concerning the LGBT community, I will address some of the observations made by the Kingdom of Netherlands and Mexico on equality and discriminations against the marginalized and vulnerable groups. While there does not exist a policy and legal framework governing the rights of LGBT in Cambodia, the provisions of all persons to be protected against all forms of discriminations are set out in the Criminal Code of Cambodia from Article 265 to Article 270. Our core value as a nation should be addressed that we do not criminalize homosexuality, LGBT community, and same-sex marriage. In fact, over 1,000 same-sex couples have been married through traditional ceremony. These facts showcases Cambodia as one of the few states in the world that does not condone imposing criminal liability to LGBT community. In fact, 69 states have outlawed same-sex actions or behaviors, whereas 11 states have provision that would impose or permit death penalty to same-sex relations. Furthermore, Cambodia has also welcomed the UN Independent Experts on Protections Against Violence and Discrimination based on Sexual Orientations and Gender Identity, with unfettered access to conduct a human rights assessments on the implementations of our existing national framework and international rights standards. He also highlighted the good practice in this peaceful culture toward LGBT community in Cambodia by stating, and I quote, "Before and during my visit, I did not receive any information of massive or systematic physical violence against the people with whom I spoke or no persons known by them regarding LGBT. The government does not tolerate violence, abuse, and harassment against the marginalized group. While it's true that the HIV rate has been disproportionately high among the LGBT community, it's medically untrue to confine the disease to the LGBT community, and it is harmful in nature in perpetuating discriminations against them. In fact, the Prime Minister Samdech Mahabawatthapradai Honmanait, during his plenary meeting of the Council of Ministers in early March this year, has cautioned the use of inflammatory language that would otherwise direct discrimination toward the community. The plenary meeting is attended by senior high levels officers, provincial governors, and also to broadcast further the message down to the subnational level administration, the positive ideology and the correct terminology when addressing the LGBT community. The royal government has strengthened the law enforcement and the regulations to fight against all forms of discriminations and ensure expanding individual, family, community, and social education for greater recognitions of LGBT rights. To supplement the effort, the government has also taken positive measures in raising awareness by integrating sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expressions, and sexual characteristics, as my colleague from the Ministry of Education has highlighted. In order to transform discriminatory norms through better understanding of diverse sexual orientation, gender identity and expressions, and to advance equality through mainstreaming the rights of vulnerable groups in order to cultivate a right-based mindset, well-informed adult, able to exercise their agency and rights in the future. Parallelly, the Ministry of Women's Affairs has also identified lesbian, bisexual, and transgender women as a priority group in the third National Action Plan on Violence Against Women, as they are the most vulnerable to higher risk of discrimination, stigma, sexual gender-based violence, and by recognizing the intersectionality of their vulnerability in belonging to multiple category of marginalized group, the state can then further integrate an intersectional perspective action plan that could translate normative framework into an all-encompassing comprehensive protection mechanism. LGBT people have continued to exercise their rights and freedom without restriction. Relevant ministries and institutions such as the Cambodian Human Rights Committee have collaborated well with CSO and associations and LGBT community in the advocacy campaign to promote and protect their rights. According to assessments of the Rainbow Community Cambodia organization known as ROC, since 2019, the number of public and their families who have value, respect, and socially recognize the status of LGBT community have significantly increased. For same-sex marriage to be amended in the Civil War, there needs to be more advocacy and promotions and public awareness to increase the level of understanding and acceptance from society and community, so that it would offset the cultural resistance and balance the religious harmony, and at the same time further legal and societal analysis along with the evolving sentiments of our community can be further examined and taken into consideration. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I now return the floor back to the head of the delegation.
Thank you very much. I'd like to give the floor to Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Excellency.